We have a lot of loose ends we'd like to tie up around here in the shop, like this truck. So we're gonna continue working on this today. Don't be dismayed. We're going to continue working on Caterpillars and Wheezy here, and the big 5T project, the 5-roller track frame, that's coming in here for the winter. There it is. There's meters, test light. We need to wire up the bed, the clearance lamps and stuff in the flatbed that we're putting on the back of here. This originally had a beat box. My grandfather did not like that we took that off of there, but we wanted a flatbed. Flatbed's a lot more useful. Put the ground on our battery here, so we can energize things. We got to put our dash and everything in here. This has kind of been Dad's baby, this project, while I was in Greenland. This is something that my son and I started before. We dismounted the old rotten tires, got new tires on it. Actually, Dad did that. We had the wheels sandblasted and painted. Tried to repair the master cylinder for the brakes, but it's pitted inside, so we got a new one of those to put on here. Dad has got new gauges to put in here, and he's been working a lot with, what's the place where you get the Chevy parts for this?
Chevs of the 40s.
Brake lights are on now.
I don't know if I have a good ground. I need a good ground somewhere.
So there's got to be one on this rusty frame somewhere.
We might have to run a clearance light wire.
Yeah, we're going to have to. So we got 4 clearance lights in the corners of the bed, 2 ambers up front, 2 reds for the back. And I got LED ones with the pigtails and new grommets. These are 4x4 treated lumber that we got to put the flatbed on. Yeah, the test light works.
How come I have...
This is not our expertise. Wiring is...
I must not be getting ground here.
Maybe not. You weren't getting ground, because is that one hot?
Yeah.
Let's see.
See?
Okay. We're skipping up to the headlights now that we've figured out what we need to wire when we get our flatbed on. And there's 2 new seals that Dad got here for the headlights. And I think you got one for the little lights too? The little lights up top?
Here I got brand new clear park light lenses for the front. Those. And I got some extra clutch screws.
The clutch
head screws.
Those are specific GM screws.
Oh, here's the gaskets for the park lights.
Okay.
This is, and we could have made one, but it was only like $3. This is the drain tube for the cowl vent up there. This is the cowl vent seal that goes right up there, which I have that working now.
Oh, okay.
So this is the seal for that.
There we go. So we'll have turn signals up front here. No, those are not the stock turn signal locations, because there is no stock turn signal locations on the front or the rear of this truck. It didn't have them. It had brake lights. But my grandfather or somebody added those and drilled those holes years ago, so we're going to go ahead and use them. I want to move them, but Dad doesn't like it.
Just put them back where they were. They'll be fine, and they're up here higher where you can see them.
He hasn't forgave me for taking the mirrors off that were on here.
No, it had good West Coast mirrors.
These are the original mirrors that I found when we were cleaning up the old farm. And I got the other one there. And, you know, we got 2 parts trucks outside, too. The E42 and the 45 GMC 6x6s inside the cabs, they're virtually identical. Dad's going to clean up these headlight bezels. We thought about painting them, but I think it would flash with the patina on the truck right now. If we ever do paint this truck, yeah, then we'll worry about it. I'm only going to connect just the 1 hot wire, and then I'll ground it up there to itself. And then for that connection, I usually solder everything, but in this case, I'm just going to use a crimper, and these are kind of a heat shrink crimp. So once I get it crimped in place, then I can just heat that heat shrink, and it'll keep the water from inside this wheel well from getting in there. My plan is to just double this wire over, crimp it into here, and then this ring will fit around the bottom of this light stem here, and it will ground to here. I've kind of ground that off a little bit. And then I'll hook up my hot wire on this side, will be done. But I'm not going to put that on camera. It's too hard to see under there, let alone work under there.
Headlight seal.
And that kind of fits in the rim around the edge.
Yeah.
Are those clutch head screws in that?
No. They're just
Phillips
screws right there.
All right. Well, these are the old sealed beam headlights. I'm pretty sure they were mandated till like the 70s, like 78, somewhere in there. Then you could have square ones and contour them to a car.
That's why slotted screws are so much fun. Turn right. Yep, it's working. There's one in. New rubber seal around it.
And what did you have to do to get that thing in there with those new gaskets?
Well,
dead blow hammer.
But the defining thing was what we use is our good old tire lube.
Tire lube. And I just got done wiring this side over here. We'll get the other headlight in. We'll check it.
There's headlamps. I think that's dims. Yeah, that's brights. Pull it on parks. Yep, there they are. Those aren't hooked up. We got to hook those up there.
Okay. So it's a couple days later, and Dad and I kind of quit. We got a little frustrated because we're not electricians. We're not good with wiring. Not good with mechanic work. We're actually just a couple of dumb lever pullers. I could go straight to work wiring all this stuff. Now, they had to build a lot of this wiring harness. You might have seen that in a previous video. Because it was a wiring harness I bought for a 1945 Chevrolet truck / pickup. And they didn't have turn signals or flashers. We're going to set this turn signal switch stuff aside for a little while. Right now we're up here working on our windshield wipers, and I've got this one our cousin gave us. Ideally it should go this way, but we kind of got it flipped upside down. Like so. That should work. And then we're going to have to build a bracket to keep it from twisting and turning. We're not going to paint this truck anytime soon. I think we're just going to get it all together, get it functional, get it going. We just don't have the time or the money or the ambition.
Ambition and money is more like it.
Why are we sitting here like this?
Because we're stumped again.
Wiring. Now I bought that new old stock Signal Stat 900. I don't think we have any issues there, but we have one brake light that's not working, and we've been chasing this for the last couple of hours. And we are frustrated because this is not what we want to be doing. We want to be working on Wheezy over there, and we want to drag Carl in here and start on that one. Shout out to Squatch, because I think that our Chevy truck here is like his Minneapolis, that we have a love-hate relationship. We want to finish it, but it is fighting us the whole way.
I had to cut out a little of that edge.
Oh, I see.
To clear. I got a mark on it.
All right.
So you cut off the stems. Whatever you cut off on the threaded part, you cut the same amount off the shaft.
Okay. And these are for the aftermarket windshield wipers that Dad's got rigged up here. This is a windshield wiper kit. My cousin gave us one, and I got another one just like it on eBay. S6558 wiper motor, 12 volts. Basically, this wire that Dad built will bolt in here and keep the motor from twisting and turning. Dad's locating the spot in the cowl. We're going to drill a screw to hold that little wire. I'm over here on the headlight switch, so park lights come on. We got that little light working under there. And the gauge cluster comes on with the park lights, but they go off with the headlights. So all I need to do is move that switch over here onto the headlight side of the circuit. Dad just cut the inside part of this off with the Dremel. Now we got to put the wiper on there.
So it needs to be on about like that. Okay. What I need to do is cut this off the same amount I cut here, which is about, I don't know, 7/8 of an inch.
Yeah, whatever you cut off of that, then you got to cut that off there.
But that seems awfully long.
Yeah, it does. That'll bottom out in that windshield wiper arm because that only goes in about 1/2 inch.
Well, if I cut it there, that means this will end up right there. That's too far out.
Yeah, to me, I think it is too.
You know what? I'm going to cut it about...
Oh, I know what they're saying. You cut it off maybe at the top of this. Right there.
Yeah,
that's what they're saying.
That would make sense.
We want to cut that off at the same length as the cutoff piece is. That would make more sense. So that mirror's on there. While Dad's been cutting those, I got this mirror on here. I got to find another mirror glass for that right there because it's cracked, but that's cheap and easy to find actually. You might recognize where this came off of. Yep, they're off of these trucks. You got your hook on there and he's already drilled the hole on the cowl.
So I'd like to hook the wires up before I mount it too, because it's going to be hard to get to.
Okay, I can do that. Okay, now they're both working. So you got power here to the switch side, here to our ground, power coming from here to the motor. That's it.
To the other motor.
Yeah, we kind of wired up that motor already, so we're gonna mount it in there.
It's going to work fine. Let me hang on to that a minute.
You got it?
Yeah.
Put that rubber grommet on there, and the washer, and that washer does have a lip on it. That's just to keep the water out of the... There, and then a nut that easily easily cross threads, I should say. I don't know, how's that?
You can go a little more.
A little more. Our wires are hooked up on the other side.
That go to the other one.
So now we got to hook up the other one, and then this is our hot wire that's going to go to that one. And then it'll go from that one to that one. The ground will go from one to the other, and then we're going to ground it to the frame, which Dad's already hooked up. Now it's time to work on our other windshield wiper here. We just tested everything and had a nice round of frustration because one of our alligator clips wasn't good. But we got it ironed out now, and yes, we have stepped away from this one single brake light that won't work because this is still frustrating us. We've got everything else ironed out. We've even got the headlight switch ironed out and the gauges switch. Everything's working. Everything on that part of the truck, everything is working except for this one brake light. So we got our windshield wipers hooked up and they're working. These wipers extend in and out so you can adjust them. We've marked the top, what we think is the top, and we're going to maybe install these and give them a try. There we go. Let's extend it to there.
Well, you'll probably hit the bottom there.
Yeah, we'll have to adjust them to work. Okay, try that.
That's pretty good.
Yeah, that's good. And I got this little rubber grommet. I didn't have one for the other wiper kit, but that kind of just seals it right here. So we're gonna disconnect the other wiper since it's timed, and then we're gonna set this one. Hopefully they'll maintain time. If not, we'll have to just put a toggle switch in between the two, kind of like my Bronco has over there. Yeah, they won't stay synchronized. So I am purposely not showing every single splice and connection. That's boring YouTube, and it's kind of irrelevant, and this application is not going to apply to a lot of others anyway, so I'm just trying to give everybody the general idea of how we're wiring this and what we're doing.
This is brake switch.
Got left, rear, brake works, hit the right turn signal again. That's good.
Let me turn on the tail lights.
Okay. Tail lights work. I replaced these bulbs in these two. They're a lighter bulb, and the grounds aren't specifically good. But the clearance lamps work. The park lights work.
Headlights.
Headlights.
Dimmer.
Dimmers and brights work. Tail lights. Brake lights.
Okay. Isn't that cool?
Oh yeah, I put a new bulb in there. That's the one I had. It works.
Yeah.
Cool. Wiper motors work. We got our new gauge cluster all installed and working. Our dash lights work. Even the heater motor we got working. So we're going to just clean this up. I'm going to put the headlight switch in there so we don't accidentally ground something out. Everything in this truck's going to get the Romex plastic, all the wiring, or wrapped in electrical tape. I'm going to put the horn button up, which is down here. This just clamps to the steering column. It was right there. You can see where the wear was. I'm a little worried that it's going to interfere with our wiring loom here. Maybe I'll put it and I'll have it facing down. I don't want to really put it out the other side because you're shifting gears with your right hand. Your left would be using your turn signal and horn and lights. Let me see what I can rig up here. Cleaner rags everywhere.
Well, I use them.
As far as the eye can see, I think Dad's heaven is just a heaven full of rags. Tricky because they go up in here.
It turns around the other way, like that.
Oh, so like this.
Yep.
And then they go up in that hole there, and then you got to start screws up there next to the windshield, which this windshield is supposed to fold out, but it no longer does.
I mean, we could, but we'll break the seal.
Yeah, I think we better leave it alone. You could see those bolts right there, and I put washers on them. That's what we're holding in the defroster with on that side. I don't know if you guys can see, that's where it mounts, and it's kind of a pickle to get to. Then the one duct mounts to here, and the other duct goes up and loops back into there.
Right.
Yeah, that'll curve, and it'll curve back into the heater.
Right. Now, is it going to be long enough? That's the question.
Well, we're about to find out. This is just aluminum like pot metal, so you got to be real careful not to break these ears off. That one's in. This one just is going to loop in back here, and it's going to be a tight fit, but I can get a clamp on there, hopefully. There we go. On to the next thing. I think the next thing is just simply going to be tying up and bundling up all these wires, making sure everything works, making sure that the cowl latch, when you open that out there, doesn't disturb any of the wires under here. So we're going to do that off camera because it's tedious and it's hard to film.
Oh, that's the master cylinder.
Yeah, we got to put it in. Brake master cylinder. Dad's getting excited looking at all of his Chevy truck parts over there. I think he has fun ordering all this stuff. We're kind of going over our weather stripping. We got new weather stripping to put around the doors here. This is just a panel here that comes off, same as up here. The weather stripping will go behind that. They're all clutch head screws that hold that in, and Dad's got new clutch head screws for over there. The good news is right here next to the dash, we were afraid we'd have to pull the dash out. We can just pull that weather stripping out of there and then tuck the new stuff right back in there. We just secured the ignition switch and got it oriented correctly. So that's good to go.
And you see the speedometer cable there.
Yep, we'll have to get it. And then there's a bunch of lights in there that go for the dash, which Dad has done a lot of work on the speedometer and the dash.
I cleaned it all up and polished the glass and repainted this interior part here. So it won't quite match this, but it's better than it was.
You were just telling me that you painted something else in here, back in the 60s. What was that?
Well, when Dad put the little 283 in, I thought it'd be cool, so I cleaned these up and I painted all the gear shift levers and the throttle Chevrolet orange.
It is cool.
It's showing its wear and patina now.
When we get this going, you're going to have to show everybody how good you are shifting this 2-speed.
Well, it's a little sticky. We need to grease some things up, and I need to get it back in practice.
I think you're just trying to curb everybody's expectations. Dad learned to drive this, and it didn't have a non-synchronous transmission. Was this the first truck they had you running on the farm, hauling wheat and stuff, or?
Actually, this and the 53 Ford pickup.
They had a 250, an F250.
53, yeah.
He put a V8 in that too.
Yeah, he put a 292.
Yeah.
It had a straight 6 originally too. But it had a synchronous gearbox.
Yes, but you learned how to double clutch with this.
With this, yeah.
And then a few hours behind a 5 and a 4 Brownie.
Oh, lots of hours.
And a Detroit.
And you never got done shifting.
Because they were gutless.
So you shifted. You might get a minute or two where you didn't have to shift, but
it was fun to watch. I loved riding in that truck. I actually ran it myself for quite a few years before we got rid of it. It looks like a rat's nest in there, but nothing's rubbing. Everything's tied up. Everything where it's supposed to be. I'm going to put the glove box in here and the instrument panel. Before we do that, we're going to double and triple check everything and make sure it works.
Yes, sir. Got taillights.
Taillights. All right. Brake lights.
Got brake lights, both of them.
Brake lights both work. Let's check our heater blower. Working.
Yep.
Coming out our defrost.
Were your 3 gauges working up there?
Yep.
Okay.
They were working.
These will work too. They just need grounded.
These?
Yeah, you got to ground them.
Yeah, through the instrument cluster they ground. Fan's working, and then there's the switch down here to switch it from defrost and floor heat. Horn.
No, we don't have any wipers.
What? Okay. Crisis averted. I accidentally unplugged one of those when I wrapped it up with tape. No, it works. That's good. And then this switch should do this one.
Right.
Okay, here's our gauge cluster. All we're hooking up on this is the speedometer and the lights. And he's just pulling these bulbs out. The ones that we have already in the new harness will plug right in there. We're gonna have to slide it in at kind of an angle, screw this in. I can reach through this glove box hole here.
Right, to do that.
Screw that together and then push it up. We'll have to put all these in too.
You know what? Plug your lights in right now. Be a lot easier now.
1, 2.
There you go. I think you got them.
Now I got the speedometer cable. The dash is in, and yeah, that did a number on my hand, reaching up underneath of there and in through this glove box here to try and access those two. There's just a stud here and one on the other side with a nut screwed on the end of it to snug it up, but we got it good and snugged up now. Let's check our dash lights. Oh, they're working. I think we're gonna have to take the glove box lid off to get the glove box in there. So we can't get that glove box to fit. We've been smashing it and pushing it and trying to fit it in. I've took the glove box lid off. I think we're just gonna modify the glove box. It's hitting this defroster hose up here, which we may have routed wrong. The kit that we got for the defroster hose only came with this length of hose. So I just went on Chevs of the 40s website and looked this up. In the description it says fits most Chevrolet trucks of the model year. I'm guessing that this heater in here probably was an addition, so if that wasn't in here, it would probably fit. So we're gonna have to modify this thing. This is Farmer, but it's gonna work. Got a few more screws to finish putting in here, and that'll do for the glove box. Oh, bones, you scared the heck out of me. We're gonna button all this up. I'll wrap it with some tape, put some Romex on it, zip tie it, get all that cleaned up. We're also gonna put the cowl gasket on here. That'll be easy. There's nothing left in there. There's no gasket at all. We've really come to love this stuff. This Loctite MR5414. I've already cleaned around the inside. We'll put this in there. I'll close it up, let it set.
That's why Dad said never to use it. Get it in there and we'll leave it shut.
That's what I was gonna do. Just seal it up and call it good. There we go. Okay. Now, go ahead and put her down. There we go. There we go. Let's button up the wiring. That's a bit better. I'll crawl underneath and finish it up under there. I'm gonna take apart all this trim molding around here. That's what holds the weather strip around the doors, and then we can do the weather strip. Some of you might not be familiar with this, but these old Chevys, they use what they call clutch head screws. I don't know if you can see, the tip of that's very different, and the tip of the screws is very unique. So we have a set of these that are sockets, and we have a set of them that are drivers. They're not all the same size either. As you can see right here, there's a bigger and a smaller one. Well, there's your fuel tank. There's some more bird seed. A couple of dead mice. I think at one time my grandma was storing bird seed in here, which didn't help us much. I got one clutch head screw that's stuck there. We've got to take out the trim over there on the back side of the door frame, same over here. I got everything else out though. And there's the bottom seat. So yeah, it's gonna need some help. I'm over here in the Angry Toolbox in the Super Angry drawer. I found these Craftsman power extractors, model 52152, and as it just so happens, they kind of look like a clutch head screw and they fit perfectly in the clutch head screw. So I'm gonna try it in that one that I can't get out. Oh, thank goodness. You can see what's left of the weather strip underneath of there. As with everything we do here, it always turns into more than we bargained for. So we've been cleaning up mouse nests and mice from underneath the seat here. I do have to say, our whole life we've always been kind of Ford people. I really like how modular and easy to work on this Chevy is. Except for the weird, you know, proprietary clutch head screws, stuff like that. Everything's accessible. Replacing the weather strip is pretty easy. It's fairly easy to get to everything. The fuel tank can be removed from under the seat. There's bolts there you take out. You can pull it up. The seat just kind of slides out and then locks into place. I'm kind of impressed, actually, how simple it was. We got the trim off that holds the weather stripping on. We're gonna put that in next, and we're gonna put in the headliner. Now the headliner, from what they tell us when we bought it, it's gonna take some special steps, so we're gonna have to steam it to fit it up in there. Just a piece of cardboard, basically. I've got this Bissell steam shot over here that I will use to steam it. Now I've used this quite a bit for cleaning carpet and gum out of carpet and stains out of carpet in cars. It works fantastic. We're gonna steam the headliner with it. Hi, good morning. You gonna have a seat and watch us work? Hard to film inside this cab. There's not enough room to work in here, let alone put a light and put a camera. Let's get our switch out this hole. Dingy in here, I can't see.
I know.
So the plates already had holes in them for the vacuum wipers. We'll put that switch through one of them. Hopefully it'll fit. And we're leaving enough wire we can tuck back in there so that if we got to pull the plate off, we can get this out of here. The headliner is going to actually just tuck over the top of here. And then there's a bit of a slot right here where my finger is that the other side goes, and then there's another headliner that goes in the back, same sort of thing. I really pity GM service techs back in the day because these little fine thread things are everywhere and they are a pain to get them lined up. Dad's digging the remnants of the weather strip that's still stuck in there between the dash and the, I guess that's the A-pillar. This side's already cleaned out, and that weather strip will just tuck right in there. It's kind of nice. You just remove the covers, the metal trim, and you can replace the weather strip fairly easy. I shouldn't be saying that yet because we haven't started.
No, you should not say that.
I've really come to appreciate the headlight that these tools have on them, especially working in this dingy, dark truck cab. Think we're ready for the headliner. How'd you get up there? There's just some screws up here that go in the middle of the headliner. We're gonna back those off a little bit so that we can tuck the headliner, the back piece in from the back. We got our trim pieces here and here. One of those will go along the front, one will go along the back. They're marked on them which one they are, and that's the rear and it's marked front. So we're gonna go ahead and put a little bit of steam on it just to make it a little bit more pliable. You gotta be careful you don't overdo it because this cardboard will saturate really quick. Dad put a date in there for anybody in the future that takes this thing apart.
Okay, let's try that. See where they go.
Yeah.
How it goes.
We got the back half in. We got the headliner in after a nice wrestling match. I took the spotlight out because I had to get the door trim off on the inside, and it's not working. It's broke. It needs rebuilt. The handles, plastic has just deteriorated. So we're just gonna plug up the hole and leave it off of here for now. If you're unlucky enough to find yourself having to put a headliner in one of these old Chevs, do the front half first. This middle section's got screws that hold itself together. You gotta unscrew those and kind of sandwich the front part of the headliner in there, and then you can put the back part in the groove. Up next, we got the door weather strip, and that's kind of a cross section of it. What it looks like, it's just kind of a vinyl, and it's pinched in around the door with a metal strip. Okay, funny guy. Cleaner's cleaning up. These are the trim pieces that hold the weather stripping on the inside of the doors. Of course, we had to take the seat out again because these ones down here are too hard to get to with the seat in.
Areas where they had like a V cut out up here around the corner and stuff.
And we could do that. We're just gonna take my favorite tool, one of my favorites, this Craftsman Handy Cut. We've started this piece of trim right here. We got screws started in it, and then we held up our weather strip where it belongs and marked it with a silver marker, and then I'll take my cutter and cut out a V where each one of those marks is. Now I can put that in the trim.
That's gonna work good.
Yeah. That's making fairly decent progress, so we're just gonna continue around the rest of the door here.
There it goes.
Yeah, that's shut. Okay.
It's tight too.
Yeah, it's nice and tight. Now we just got the other side to do. What the? Quit doing that. Once again, back when I was ambitious, I bought the new emblem for the front of this grill. It goes down here. Nobody in my family ever remembers this truck having it, but I'm gonna go ahead and replace it because I don't want to disassemble the whole front of this truck because there's all kinds of stuff going through here. I'd have to take the whole hood off. I have an idea how I could get that on there without taking any of this off because I can reach in there with my fingers. What I'm gonna do is just reach through the grill and put one of these bolts in. Yes, they're a carriage bolt, but that doesn't matter. I've got a jam nut on here, and I'm gonna put a lock washer on there, and then these will screw right into the back of the emblem. I can twist them on with my fingers and then just get a wrench in there to tighten the jam nut down. Well, that was a pretty brilliant idea I had. It's nice and tight on there. Yeah, sometimes I feel dead inside looking at that truck too. I got the fisheye lenses, a little easier to see out of. Got the weather strip done on that door. Let's see if it closes. We know we got to trim the excess off around the outside. That actually went in fairly well. Just fine. Got all the excess trimmed on the weather strip, and we know those bottom sections, we're gonna have to flip those around. If we ever get the cardboard that goes in the kick panels, I don't know if we're gonna get it or not. They're fine the way they are. We'll address it later if we have to. Now we can put the bed on. Still surprised how easily this seat comes in and out of here. Ooh, jeez. All right, I guess we'll go for a ride. Everything working?
Yeah, it'd take a little bit to build heat up, but voltmeter's working.
Got good oil pressure.
Oil pressure 40 pounds.
My dad's reliving his wheat farmer days. Feel like you gotta take a load of wheat in?
Yeah, I do. I need to work that cable. There.
He's shifting the 2-speed in the rear differential. It's kind of sticky.
Oil warmed up, so now we're showing about 35 pounds with warm oil.
Did our speedometer work?
You know what? I didn't check that. Let me see. This is 51.
Which is still within the normal parameters. A loading dock is usually 48 to 52, but if we're a little lower, that'd be good. Fall protection wise, I think 4 foot's a cutoff. The other 4x4s are supposed to come out of here, so it'll be just down on that first rung of 4x4s.
Is it okay?
Yeah, we're good.
I think we can get that other one too, can't we?
Yeah. All right.
Yeah. All right, now push.
Ooh. Well, it landed my way.
Yeah, your way. There, like that. He's going south real quick.
Yeah. Well, it's what I call a disposable tape measure anyway.
Look at that. 28 3/4. 28 3/4.
Let's not move anything.
Yeah.
There's a U-bolt kit that Tractor Supply has that you can mount these with. I might get those. We're probably gonna think about fashioning some sort of a bumper down here where we can maybe put our lights in it and maybe a step. While we're waiting for the U-bolts to get delivered, we're going to go out and see what we have for scrap iron to make a bumper out of. You know, I keep going back to this, but we've got these track frames off of that 7J. That one over there has been broke and fish plated. That would work.
We have to cut a lot of this off, though.
Yeah, you just cut and torch that. That'd be a true Caterpillar bumper.
Man, that's a lot to cut off, though, Aaron.
It is. What's this? How about we use that piece of railroad? The solid piece of 4x4 square.
It's too short.
Yeah, those are for that bed on the truck.
The racks.
The racks, yeah. I got the whole set. Oh, goodness. You can come out here with us if you want. I know I need to fix the fence. I hit it with the mower.
Could make a pipe one.
Yeah. Then you can't, you slip if you try and climb up there.
I know.
We just ran to town and we got a piece of this channel iron. It's like a 5-inch channel iron, roughly 5 feet wide. So we're gonna move the tail lights off of here, and I think we're gonna just mount this onto these brackets. I'll probably weld it on underneath and then we'll gusset it. Also picked up a cheap license plate light while I was in town, so we'll have to make a frame for the license plate.
Yeah, do it.
All right, I'll weld it up. We're just gonna tack it on here, and then we're gonna gusset this over to the corner here. If you're thinking what I would think when I watch a video like this, that those idiots are welding to the frame, we're not. This is actually a piece of bracket that was on here. We're welding the bumper to that bracket that's bolted to the frame. We're not actually welding anything to the frame. I'm not showing a close-up of my welds because I am never happy with my welds. We'll probably never use this thing realistically. It'll just go to a show now and then, and that's about it.
You might haul a little hay or...
True.
Or a barrel of oil, or who knows.
Right now we're working on a bracket for the mud flaps. It's going to go across the channel there and hang on the outside of the bed. Got a coat of paint on the bumper. Got one of the mud flaps on. Now we got to do the others. I got the U-bolt clamp kits here, and I got to say, folks, these are really, really well made and heavy duty. They also include all the hardware you need. As soon as we get all the U-bolts on, we'll tidy up the wiring, zip tie it, get it up where it needs to be. We'll put our other mud flaps on, and we'll put our toolbox on up in the front. So I've got one of these loosely configured right here where we're going to put it. We're going to put another one here on the other side. At some point in its life, this frame was already torch cut here, and it had similar style U-clamps on it. There's one up there, also right behind the battery. So we'll put a clamp there, one there, and then there's provisions for 2 on the other side right across from it. Getting those clamps on there actually went a lot better than we thought it would. We're realizing now that we're gonna have to probably get in here and retorque those periodically after we've put loads on this truck that'll kind of squish it down. Now we're gonna get back to the mud flaps. Got a scroogey. Thanks, friendo. Now all we got to do is finish up our wiring, zip tie everything, and then we're going to mount that toolbox over there. Oh wait, the front mud flaps first, then the toolbox. One final light check before we go any further.
Got all clearance lights.
Tail lights?
Yep.
Okay.
Left turn, right turn, brake. It's all good.
We're good. Front mud flap on this side, we'll do the other side, and we got it a little further away from the tire than the one in the back. And hopefully it won't sail into the tires when we're going down the highway. Okay, that mud flap's on. Dad's over there figuring out a bracket for our toolbox.
It'll sit just like that, only it'll be under here, of course.
We can utilize 2 holes that are already in the frame, and unfortunately we're gonna have to drill, what, 2 more?
2, yeah. From these rivets down, doesn't go through the truck main frame.
Yeah, and that's all we're bolting to is there, right?
Exactly.
Got the brackets cut and drilled for attaching to the frame. You could probably tell that I tied up the wiring and by all the cut off zip ties on the floor, and I put our old plate on there from the farm. Last time that was licensed is 1985. You know what else happened in 1985? I'm guessing the last time this was licensed when Dad and I were hauling wheat with it. I'll weld that one up. We'll go ahead and put it on,
Yeah.
and then we can size up for this one.
Yeah, then we can get our distance where we want this, and then we got to drill those 2 holes in the frame there.
Okay. Beautiful sunrise today. That one turned out better than the last one. The last one I had my wire speed and heat wrong. But this one, I'm pretty happy with this one. All right, let's test fit it. Cleaner cleaning. I marked and drilled the holes for the bottom of the toolbox. I'm gonna grind these sharp corners off here. That's just an accident waiting to happen. Rubber strips that we'll put between the toolbox and the brackets that we made. Dad's over there on the welding bench, cutting a piece of rubber belting to put in the bottom of it. So when you throw chains and stuff in here, it doesn't ding up the bottom. And it was just a happy accident that the door, well, it doesn't really clear the ground, but it's close enough. It was something that came off of my Peterbilt when we were still in the excavating business. And yeah, we painted the brackets. Did Cleaner cut it right?
I think so.
Pins for the stake bed. There it is, the 1945 Chevrolet farm truck. We got her going again. And we're going to have an exciting video with this truck in the future. I do want to thank you for watching, and we'll see you on the next one. Let's bring the Chevy back in. I think when we get this thing done, I'm going to drive it to the levee. Oh, will it start? Will it start? will start. I'm gonna hook up the battery. We are going to double and triple check. Before we do that, I'm going to double and triple check everything. Tire lube